do this.
And we're going to share straight away.
Yeah. Okay. So welcome to this week's Zoom training call, and it's all about IPAs, income producing activities. So one of the good things that, so as you guys know, and some of you guys are on here, are actually part of what we call a huddle, and that was our last training. It was on GBT huddles or Sensi huddles, and one of the things that we have noticed is how many people don't realize what an income producing activity is. And so I was like, you know what? I wonder who else doesn't know what that is and how they're spending their time and where they're putting their time into these activities where it's not going to give you much results. And when I say not much results, it's not going to get you sales or commission. And the last thing we want to do is for you to be spending money and not making any money at all.
Can everyone see the PowerPoint before we go any further? Yes.
Okay, great. So income producing activities, that's what we're talking about. So if we like to use acronyms. Is that the word? Sure. In Sensi. So IPA, if you ever hear it. So why? So here's the thing. Most of us, actually not most, all of us are busy people. We all have other commitments. We all have other things going on. Some of us work full-time, part-time. Some of us, have other commitments with volunteering, or we've got mother duties or whatever. Whatever your case is, everyone is busy. So when you finally sit down to have some time to work on your business, we want you guys to be putting your time into what we call IPAs, income producing activities, because there's no point filling your Sensi time, which is what you have, like a little limited amount of time, on things that's not going to get you results. And part of that is sometimes we focus on these other activities because they're the easy ones. And it's time to get past that. And when you do only have 5 minutes, we want you to just pick these IPAs and focus on those only. Like if that's what, or the only thing that you're doing in your business is these activities, you are going to see growth. Okay, so basically we're going to go through some examples of non-income producing activities. So these are good activities, and we're not saying not to do them. We want you to do them. They're important. And if you want a well-rounded business, you should be doing them. But if you are limited in time and you have 10 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day, we don't really want you to be filling that time up with these types of activities.
The other thing is these things, most of them lead to an income producing activity.
Yeah.
And sometimes we think it's a little bit like when you go fishing. We'll do that at the end. Give them a good analogy at the end.
Okay.
It'll be better. So non-income producing activity examples, cleaning your office.
And as much as that would help you, like, let your brain be, like, for me, a clean house and a house that is, a house of order, for me, that makes me function better. Like, I have to have my kitchen clean for me to function the very next day. So sometimes I understand that cleaning your office helps you think, but if you're constantly just cleaning your office every 3 or 4 days and not doing anything else, you're not going to see any income coming in.
This one's for you, Tam.
No, it's not, but...
Organising your folders by colour code or alphabetical order. Go, Tim, go.
And like you said, these lead to income producing activities.
I don't know why Cindy had to be so specific on that one.
It was
I'm not sure if I've ever done alphabetical order or colour coding, but I've definitely done it by topic of business.
Yeah.
There you go. Yes.
Okay. So and these great activity, fantastic activity. Yes. But if that's as far as you ever get, that's a problem.
Go. If it's as far as you ever get and you don't actually use the system that you've organized, it's a waste of time, right?
Because it is work. While you're doing it, it's work. It's not an easy thing to do. It takes time and effort.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't lead to any final
if cleaning your office doesn't make you sit in there and work your business, there's no point doing it. If organizing your folders and you never use the system because it just looks pretty and it's not functional for your, like the way that your brain works, again, there's no point doing it. Making samples, great. If again, it leads to you handing them out. So I've seen so many people be like, I'm making samples, I'm making samples, I'm making samples. And then days later or weeks later, I'm like, how did you go with handing out those samples? They're just sitting in my office. And it's great. It can be an income producing activity, but what it needs to be is handing out sample. I'm going to hand out 10 samples today. That is an income producing activity. Making them isn't going to get you anywhere. Organizing your calendar. As much as organizing your calendar is important, it helps you be at places and helps you know where you need to go. Again, this is not going to get you income producing activities. Like, it's not going to get you any sales if you're just going to sit there and organize your calendar. Sorting stock levels, again, important, but it's not going to get you any sales. Shopping for table displays, one of my favorite ways to spend my Scentsy time at TK Maxx. Again, if I don't have anywhere to display my tables, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of resources. Shh. Okay.
It's a waste of what? Time and money and resources.
For one day I'll display tables. So here's the thing, I'm guilty of doing this too, clearly.
Weekly.
Making up a follow-up system. Again, this is good and it's important and it's great if you then go and do the follow-up, okay? So like I just said, it's basically leading. It has to lead to something.
So my analogy, right? Fishing.
Yes.
So when you go fishing, I like to go to BCF and buy all the things and reset up my stuff.
Every time
I go fishing because it's fun.
Every single fishing trip. It drives me crazy. And
so you get all this new stuff and it's fun and amazing and you spend all this time getting your stuff ready. You get down there, you get yourself set up. You've got your rescue. You've got all your stuff ready to go.
Can I just say something? By the time he does that too, so he goes to the fishing shop, stops there, buys the things that he needs. Then when he gets to where he goes, he's in the car lining it all up, right? And setting it all up. And then by the time you get there, he doesn't even spend much time there.
I don't appreciate that comment at all.
So he's wasted my resources. He's wasted his time. He's wasted my time.
What I'm saying is the time spent actually fishing is very minimal.
Yeah, because you
filled the bottom line.
Because you filled it up with all this
when you say
stuff.
I'm going fishing, when I tell Cindy I'm going fishing, but the time that I actually spend with my line in the water is a fraction of the overall time. While all those other things are important, I'm not going to catch a fish at BCF.
No.
I'm not going to catch a fish sitting in the car rigging up my line. I'm not going to catch a fish, I don't know, sitting next to the water thinking about where I'm going to cast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like those things aren't going to actually catch the fish. They will help get me to the point where I'm able to catch a fish, but they're not going to catch a fish in and of themselves.
Yeah. If anything, if you're going to be spending X amount of time on those things, you need to be putting that same amount of time in the actual, like, fishing part of the activity, if not more.
The reality, so the other reality of that is that setup that I get for that one time is probably good enough for the next time and the next time and the next time. I don't have to then sit and reset up all those things and go back to BCF and buy more gear. But you do, because that's the easy and the fun stuff.
There you go. That's the easy and the fun stuff. And that's why we go back and we fill up our time with all these activities instead of getting to the...
Which are the easy things to do, right?
Yeah.
They're the easy, non-confrontational...
You don't have to talk to anyone doing these things, right?
You just sit in your office quietly by yourself.
You're not meeting anyone. You're not having new conversations with people. You're not having those awkward, hey, I'm a Scentsy consultant person, because these activities have got nothing to do with conversation. It's got nothing to do with connecting with people.
And they also give you that little win of you feel like you're getting closer.
Yes, that you're doing something.
But if you're not actually ever going to get to that thing, don't let yourself feel that way. It's a fake feeling. It's not real. Yeah. It's like,
and then
it's real to a degree, but it's not going to get you that sale.
And we want to educate you guys, because at the end of the day, when you sit back and you're like, how am I going in my Scentsy business, and you're reflecting and you're evaluating where you're at, I don't want you guys to think that you have given it a red hot go when we kind of get confused as to what these non-income and income producing activities are. Because I myself am guilty of doing these things and filling up my time with these activities as well. And sometimes when I first started, I actually thought that doing these things was going to get me sales and going to get me, you know, new contacts. And so when you're reevaluating yourselves every 3 to 6 months, I want you guys to know that you're like, you know, have I given it all that I have? Well, until you go and do this next lot of activities, you probably haven't. So you need to stick to it, and you need to push through and get past these easy, fun activities and get to the hard work, because that's what requires, that's what you need to grow a business, is hard work.
So one thing that I've noticed too is that in our huddles, in my huddle anyway, sometimes we have a tendency to lean towards these non-income producing activities as a daily task.
Yeah.
Because they're not confrontational and we feel like we can tick that off. I can clean my office tomorrow. I can make some samples. That's easy for me to do.
Yeah.
And they're not bad activities, but as we said, if they're not going to produce anything, they're not worth anything.
Yeah. Okay, so here are some income producing activities, and again, these aren't all of them. These are just things that I thought up of when I was making the slides. So if you have any other ones, let us know. So attending and booking an event, or booking and attending an event, that's going to get you some, you know, some leads or some sales. Follow-ups, doing the follow-up. So you can use your folder that you spent making all pretty and, you know, have it in all whatever kind of categories you want. But if you're using it, that is an income producing activity. Booking conversations. I see certain people that are like, I posted up on Facebook and I can't get party bookings. That's not going to get you party bookings, but the conversation is actually asking people, hey, would you like to have a little get together with your friends? That is what's going to get you more sales and more hostesses. Sponsoring conversations. So conversations is just a big word, just having conversations with people. Coaching and mentoring teammates. Again, it's still a conversation, because here's the thing, it's so much better to work together than it is to work on your own. And when you work on your own, you saw those non-income producing activities, they were all by yourself. You don't need someone to come and clean up your office with you. You don't need someone to come and make samples with you. But if you can start coaching and mentoring and working together, you then start feeling that you're part of a bigger group, a part of a bigger team, and you start wanting to, you know, contribute and be held accountable to those types of things. Handing out samples and opportunity packets. So keywords, handing out, and probably following up with that. Host coaching, that's going to get you some income producing it's an income producing activity. Sharing on social media, your stories, your blogs, that's all going to help you, again, get leads. Business basket drop-offs, again, having conversation with people, business owners. Home parties, meet lots of people. Online parties, again, that's going to get you some new leads and contacts. Talk to people and build relationships. Open homes, I'm not going to go through each of them, but sharing your referral program, use mobile office, collect orders, go live with a product display, themed parties. So these are examples of things that will actually get you, and will they get you a sale straight away? Probably not. You probably have to continue to do these things over and over again. But some of these things, if you do a hostess coaching and home party really well, you'll get some pretty good sales instantly. So
what I reckon we should do, so we're in the habit of doing the easy things, right? This quote that Cindy's got here, live less out of habit, more out of intent. So if we're, all those non-income producing activities are the things that we're used to doing when we say, I'm going to go and work on Sensi now, because they're the easy things. They're the things that don't require confrontation. They don't require us to speak to anyone, like we said. But if we're actually wanting to grow this as a business, you have to be intentional about it. You can't just hope. You can't just do the easy things. The easy things, nothing happens when you do the easy things.
Well, if you want real growth, if you want to get on incentive trips, if you want to, I don't know, whatever your goal is, pay for a car every single month, or if you want to pay for your kids' sports consistently over and over again, whatever your goal is, work, like be a stay-at-home mum, you have to do the hard work. Like, yes, this work is fun, and it is, and it can be very easy. And here's the thing, when I first started, the hard things, like talking to people was really hard work. Like I would come home from a party and I would crash out. Like
Really would, actually.
I couldn't, because I'm not a social person. I'm quite, I'm an introvert. So that took so much effort out of me that I would come home and I would crash for like a day or two after. Like it was just so much effort. And it was really hard. But the more and more I do it, the easier and funner it becomes, because it becomes second nature to you. And now asking someone to have a party is not that hard for me anymore. Like I'm like, I just ask everybody, hey, you just put an order for $140. Why don't you just have a party and get some more free stuff? Oh, okay. Like, whereas before asking that was like vomiting. It was like choking on my saliva. Like I flipping hated it. I felt like I was putting pressure on people, and I felt like they were just saying yes to make me feel better about myself. Or they would say no and I would cry myself to sleep. And so here's the thing. The more you do it, and we say it all the time, it gets easier, and it really, really does. And it becomes, when it becomes easier, it becomes more enjoyable as well. So then you do more of it. That's how that works. Okay.
So your daily tasks that you're doing for the huddles should be coming from the income producing activities list. You covered that, right?
Yeah. But if you're not, I know I can see a lot of people here aren't part of a huddle. That's fine. As long as you are doing something, at least one, like if you're filling up your time, if you have 5 minutes a day, as long as you're doing something from the second list of things, you will see growth. If you're doing things from filling your time with the first list of things, it's going to be pretty hard to get a sale, or it's going to be, very rare. You get where I'm going with this.
The other thing is sometimes, like, to do 3 of those income producing activities in a day sometimes can seem overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff
for
in there.
some people, that's really hard.
For some people, it's going to take all of your energy to just open your mouth and talk to someone. That's a difficult thing, right?
Yeah.
So what I reckon is, if you're not going to do 3 things and you're not going to do 10 things, you're not going to do all of them in a day, do something. Do any one of those income producing activities every single day, and you will see a difference. You have to see a difference.
Yeah, because you're doing the right things. And I remember hearing someone say, if you're doing, okay, I'm going to stuff this up, and I can just see Andrew just laughing. But if you're doing the right thing and you're still not getting a result, it's the way that you're doing it. Like you have to look at how you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
I got that right. There you go.
Close enough. So what he said was, yes, we'll post the slides. What he said, it was Jason Harwood, and he said,
oh, that's it. It was Jason.
It's either one of the 2 things. If you're not getting success from the things that you're doing, there's one of 2 things that is wrong. You're either not doing the right thing, or you're doing the right thing, but you're not doing enough of it.
Yes, that's it. That's so much better.
So if you're doing home parties and you're not getting the results that you're looking for, we can absolutely guarantee to you that home parties can be successful. We've seen it happen. We've seen it happen in our own business. We've seen it happen in other people's business. It is the way to go to build your business. So if that's not working for you, you're either not doing enough of them, or you're not doing it the right way. So research about how to do them better, or find someone that is successful in doing home parties, have a talk to them, get the resources that you need to do it successfully, and then do more of it, because it does work. It's not the wrong activity, it's the right activity. So
just doing it the wrong way.
Most of the time in this business, it's not the wrong activity. Most stuff will get, any of those income producing activities will get you the results that you need if you do them intentionally and if you do them effectively.
Yeah.
So find ways to do them effectively and do them all the time, and that will ultimately bring you success.
Yeah, and the way that you're going to find how to do them effectively is, like Andrew said, talk to people that are doing really well in that area. The second thing is listen to trainings over and over and over again. When I first started, every night for the first year, I went onto the training center, I went onto YouTube, I listened to the recordings of the calls when I couldn't make it. Every single night, I watched it as if I was watching an episode of Mass. It was just
Oh,
something
what? No.
I would go on, and I'd be like every single night before I would go to bed, even if it was like if I was tired, I'd watch a 10-minute video, or I would listen to a 5-minute training, whatever it had to be. And it would be about the same topic. And I would just learn from all the people from America, because we didn't have a lot of Australian people then. So all the people from America, I would learn about basket parties, and I would watch so many basket parties. I learned how to book parties from booking games. Like, I just did the best that I could when I could, and I just listened and I filled my mind. And the other things is, not only are you getting good ideas, but here's the thing, is that it's constantly in your head, and you're like, oh, well, I better do something for my Sensi business today, because you're constantly listening to trainings. If you want to get better at something, surround yourself with more of that thing, okay?
Well, it's like that top 5, you're the sum of the top 5 people that you spend time with.
Yeah.
So if one of those people that you spend time with is Sensi trainings, then you're going to become a Sensi person.
Yeah.
Like, how that works.
Yeah.
Whatever you're listening to is what you'll ultimately
And then the third tip with that is be patient. I know it's really, really hard. It's hard to be patient, especially when you feel like you're giving it your all. You're like, you know what? I've given it my all. I've given it hours and hours, and I still can't get a basket party or whatever. I can tell you right now, it took me like 12 to 18 months to get a sale from a basket party. I did business drop-offs for so long, visited so many businesses, and got absolutely nothing, zero, like not even leads. And I never stopped, because I was like, I'm going to finally figure out how to do this, because other people in my team are doing really well with this. Other people around me are doing really well with this. So it works. I just have to figure out how it works for me. And I remember sitting and listening to a training, and Andrew's just like, Cindy, you're trying too hard to be that person. And I was like, yeah, but she's amazing. She knows what she's doing. She's a star director, and she's like my idol. And Andrew's just like, but she's not you. And you're trying too hard to be someone you're not. You're saying things that doesn't sound like you. You're doing things that's not you. And he's like, take the idea and the concept and make it your own. And as soon as I started making it my own, things just like switched, because I was more comfortable with the delivery. I was more comfortable with the sharing, because it wasn't me trying to be someone else or me trying to be like the star director on YouTube. It was me being myself and doing the best that I could with what I was blessed with. And it just happened. The pressure was taken off of me, and I was able to get better results, because I started to back myself, and I started to build confidence in myself. And that's something that we as women struggle with, is confidence. But you're authentic, and there's something special about each of you, and you need to harness that and just double down on that and share that, and make that a big part of your business plan. Probably one of the best things I've ever said.
You got on a roll there. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, does anyone have anything to say other than Bruce? So he has this little rope thing, and he has to play with it.
When he sees Andrew,
He thinks
he has
that's
to
our
play
game.
fetch.
He goes and gets it out of his rope and then brings it out. So, anyone, anything, we're going to unpin ourselves.
Was anything a surprise?
Is there anything that you're going to do differently tomorrow than what you're doing today or this week that's going to be more effective in terms of an income producing activity? And we'll stop the recording so you don't forget awkward about it.